The live-action Link and live-action Zelda have been revealed for the scheduled for 2027 release of the live-action Legend of Zelda movie, and guess what? Hunter Schafer, the actor from Euphoria, who also happens to be a transes person, is neither Link nor Zelda, as a bunch of different headlines have pointed out, in seeming disappointment. Now, for those of you who are unaware, there has been an internet campaign and a rumor mill stating that Hunter Schafer, the trans actor that plays whatever character in Euphoria that's name eludes me at this moment in time, would be cast as Princess Zelda, and a lot of people out there on the internet.com who are absolute idiots said that this Hunter person was the perfect person in order to play this character. And apparently, Hunter had actually given statements indicating interest in the role of Zelda, but all of the hopes of the progressives have been dashed against the rocks like a deformed Spartan baby, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The reaction to these new people being cast in these roles, and why I think Nintendo had to step in when the Hollywood rumor mill was going absolutely crazy. But before we get into that, I want to say thank you to everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
So what's interesting about this particular...
Hello, look.
What's interesting about this particular...
Hey, listen.
What's interesting about this particular... Oh my god, shut up. Seriously, shut up. Stop it. I know that there's danger afoot. I know that there's an enemy there. I played this game before. Just cut it out. I don't want to listen. Just shut up. All joking aside, but in the research for this video, for whatever reason, I decided to look up the sounds of Navi from Ocarina of Time. And also, by the way, the same exact sounds were played during Majora's Mask, which is one of my favorite Zelda games. And I realized that Nintendo 64 basically gave me my first bout of PTSD, so I wonder if you guys out there in the audience also have PTSD whenever you hear those sounds. Oh my god, please stop, for the love of God. I am already listening, just cut it out. But regardless, let's get into one of these articles that says that the fans were absolutely dying for Hunter Schafer to play Princess Zelda in the live-action Zelda movie. So this article is from The Nerdist. It seems to be reposted by Yahoo News, and it says, The Legend of Zelda live-action movie cast Link and Zelda, alas, Hunter Schafer is not involved. And one of the things that made me laugh about this is that they say, Legend of Zelda fans really, in all caps, hoped that Hunter Schafer would play Princess Zelda in the live-action The Legend of Zelda movie. And we must admit, casting Hunter Schafer would have been a perfect decision. Schafer is super talented, and we would have loved to see a transgender person cast in such a high-profile role. But alas, it will not be the case. The Legend of Zelda instead cast Bo Bragidson to play the live-action princess. And again, you could just feel the disappointment coming off this webpage in this decision to cast a live-action Zelda that is actually a female. And by the way, I've looked at the photos that they posted of both of these individuals. The girl that they cast looks great as Zelda. I do think the Link guy obviously is going to have to dye his hair blonde, but you know, that's something easy for these Hollywood types to do. But in reality, there was not a big push from the grassroots in order to have this Hunter Schafer person play Zelda in this movie. This was an internet meme. A lot of people were showing Hunter Schafer and Zelda side by side and saying that this would actually be the perfect casting, but in reality, in no way, shape, or form would this have been a great idea. I mean, again, Zelda is a Nintendo property. If you guys are unaware, because of the animated movie being more recent of Super Mario, there was actually a live-action Super Mario movie back in the 90s that was an unmitigated disaster. And I mean in every possible way. Critic reviews, audience reviews, and the set of the movie was incredibly dangerous, as we have stories from the actors nearly dying multiple different times on this set because of all the kooky stuff that they built that didn't really work. But more importantly, the live-action Mario Brothers movie was an embarrassment for Nintendo and the nation of Japan. This is something they've been extremely worried about ever since this film's release, and this is one of of the reasons why Nintendo properties have not been greenlit for live action movies, despite the fact that the key component whenever you're making a movie nowadays is having already built-in fans, because you have to make most of your money in the theater. People want to go into said movie with a known IP, and yet Nintendo had held off on adapting any of their video games post the Super Mario Bros. Disaster. Now I know Detective Pikachu ended up getting a movie, but that's not quite Pokemon. It's a movie based on a sub-game in the Pokemon universe. You could tell I'm not an expert on Pokemon. I stopped playing Game Station a long time ago, and I think it is quite notable that Miyamoto, the creator of Zelda, is the person who announced this casting from Nintendo's Japanese account, because even though there's no confirmation at this moment in time that Hunter Schafer was seriously considered for the role despite the Hollywood rumor mill, and there's no confirmation that Japan intervened and said absolutely not, we don't want our movie to be a political firestorm, it is my belief that this is what ultimately ended up making the decision, because again, you have the Japanese announcement of these two actors that are going to portray this character from Miyamoto himself, or at least it's signed by Miyamoto. And I will just point out that even though you could find certain images of Hunter Schafer where Hunter Schafer looks quite feminine, looks a lot like Zelda, there have been a lot of people, and I'm not going to do this throughout the course of the video because I don't think there is a need to be needlessly cruel to this actor person, who have shown candid images of this same person. And I just want to point out that you can tell based on those candid images, and even though they would doll this person up for the movie, in reality, this is just not something that we should be interested in. Now, I have a longer tangent about how I'm maybe not that interested in this Zelda movie in the first place. I don't need live action movies that basically create a movie version of a video game, but that is neither here nor there at this moment in time. But if you're going to do a live action movie, why would you intentionally set yourself up for a culture war battle? Why would you intentionally do stunt casting? Unless, of course, you are going to hire on Zack Snyder as your director, and basically you're trying to get him to cast in the same way that he put Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. And yes, I'm still mad about that casting and that portrayal, but overall, I actually think the cast looks pretty good as of right now. Now again, it's two people, Hunter Schafer not involved. I think that's wonderful. I think that's great. I think that's swell. I know a lot of people were thinking Zelda was going to be Zelda and Sheik, so Hunter would have been the perfect person to pull it off, but I'm not interested in that version of the movie at all whatsoever. Maybe in an alternate universe where Kamala Harris won the election and they mandated gender transitions for the children's, we could get that, but in reality, the Hunter Schafer person could go act in Hollywood and do whatever that person wants to do, but you can't have this IP. You can't have The Legend of Zelda. I'm sure Marvel will put you in as the new Captain Marvel. You'll replace Brie Larson, and in reality, on balance, based on Brie Larson's performance as Captain Marvel in those movies, I think a lot more people would buy into that, just because a lot of people are like, yeah, anybody but her. Now, of course, there is the notable reaction on social media. Brianna Wu posted the following: "I'm sorry, this is silly. If anyone was ever born to play Princess Zelda, it's Hunter Schafer." And then we have the image with the elf ears right there, and all I will say in response to Brianna Wu, who, by the way, I've actually met and I think I have a respectable relationship with that I'm not trying to destroy, is that Hunter Schafer was quite literally not born to be Princess Zelda. In fact, Hunter Schafer was born to maybe play Link, who knows, based on the actual biology to which this person was born. Again, Hunter Schafer had to augment the appearance of Hunter Schafer to even look like Zelda in this particular photo. Now look, while I could trudge through Twitter to find a bunch of different other takes that are absolutely wrong and people melting down over Nintendo making this sensible, logical decision to cast somebody who is a woman who actually looks like the character in order to play the character, I'm just gonna leave it up to you guys out there in the audience. Do you think Hunter Schafer is your dream Zelda? Is this the person from Euphoria that you absolutely needed to play this role? Or do you think that Nintendo, pressuring Hollywood possibly, made the right decisions in both the castings of Zelda and Link? Or maybe you want to do a third option. Maybe you actually think that this movie should be animated, not live action, or you have your own dream casting for these characters, and both characters in your personal dream casting are also transes actors. Maybe that's the direction you're going in. Maybe you want more transes, not one transes, and that's the real reason you're so mad. Again, all your thoughts down in the comments below. As per usual, usual, if you like this video, then show me by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias. You can support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about the Zelda Transes fans is mad. Till next time.